All right. It's rolling.
Hello, people. Welcome to Popcorn on the Macabre. This is Dick.
And I'm Chad.
We're about to watch a Tobe Hooper classic here. And it's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's not Salem's Lot. And it's not even Poltergeist. We're about to watch a movie called Eaten Alive. And it's to me it's a classic. A lot of people feel like, with all the problems that were associated with this production, Tobe Hooper didn't direct the whole film, obviously. But a lot of people think that since the production was so troubled, that it's not one of his best efforts. But, I mean, it's one of my favorite horror films.
Where's it in the timeline of Tobe Hooper's career?
This is his second film. Second.
So he's coming off what?
He had just done the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974, and then, he did a movie before Texas Chainsaw Massacre called Eggshells, and that was made in like 1969, but I don't really count that as part of his canon.
Was it his growing film?
Yeah. It was like an experimental film that he did with a bunch of hippies, and I've never seen it because I don't even think it's available.
Okay.
But I consider this his second movie, and to me it's a fucking masterpiece. But I like the style of movie this is. It's
I'm seeing a lot of lighting here.
Yeah, it's very vibrant. It's almost like the exact opposite of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not completely grounded in realism. It's sort of like hyper realism, or it's a very surrealistic movie. But
so there's more to this movie than meets the eye.
Yeah, totally, man. I notice new things every time I watch this film, and it's very bizarre. A lot of people can't really get into it because of the weird characters. And
I'm Buck and I like to fuck.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the.
I mean that's a that's an epic tagline. That's almost as well written as Matthew McConaughey's tagline from.
You're not talking about Texas Chainsaw the new generation or the next generation.
No, I'm comparing. I'm Buck and I like to fuck to Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, his line from Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
His Dazed and Confused.
I get older, they stay the same age.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, and dude, obviously Tarantino likes this movie a lot because he straight up ripped that line off in Kill Bill Volume 1, where the Michael Bowen character says, there's a difference in the line, because Michael Bowen says, name's Buck and I like to fuck. In this movie, Robert Englund's, I believe the line is verbatim, name's Buck and I'm raring to fuck.
Raring?
Yeah. Are you smoking?
No. Me? Oh, this is housekeeping. He gone right now.
In case you can't tell, Chad has just sparked it up, folks. So with that being said, we're about to just dive right into the movie.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, we're on the to let you guys know, this is the Arrow edition of Eaten Alive, and it's packed with special features.
I was about to say, Arrow is pretty good with special features, right?
Yeah, they didn't disappoint with the supplements.
Would you recommend Arrow to people now?
Yeah, definitely.
I know. I am when I can pick up a title on Arrow, I do immediately.
Yeah.
Criterion of horror.
I would say so. They're definitely turned into sort of a Criterion Collection like company, And they're putting out great titles, and not just horror films anymore. But
no, I've seen they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, but we're for those who have the movie, we are on the scene select option right now, and I'm gonna say now, and I'm gonna do my countdown, and we're gonna play the movie in 3, 2, 1, now. and we're
psychedelic music and sounds.
Yeah, we're seeing the full moon here, and
Vertigo International.
Virgo, a Mars production. Marty Rustum. I don't know much about this guy. I think he was sort of a foreign producer that came to the U.S. and wanted to capitalize on exploitation films, and I guess he had seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre and wanted to hire Tobe Hooper to do this movie, but apparently this film went through, a lot of rewrites. I think the script was fucking horrible, apparently, because Marty Rustum, apparently he conceived the story and it was kind of like one-dimensional. So Tobe Hooper was like, well, let me get Kim Hinkle involved. You notice the credit there, adapted for the screen by Kim Hinkle.
I saw that.
Kim Hinkle was the writer with Tobe Hooper on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, I just noticed was it Tobe Hooper I saw with the music too?
Yeah, because Tobe Hooper did this weird fucking psychedelic music on Texas Chainsaw too, and it wasn't like it wasn't like music. It wasn't real music. It was just like a bunch of sounds, and it didn't really have like a melody to it.
Yeah. He paid for that hour. And
here we go with Robert Englund, folks. This predates Freddy Krueger by at least 8 years, I believe.
Yeah, was he on V?
He was on V.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually, he was doing V, I think, before Nightmare on Elm Street. But
how do you think he did in this?
I think he's a great actor. I've always thought Robert Englund's an awesome actor. I feel like, you can see like his performance isn't as nuanced as some of the stuff he would do later, but you could tell he was kind of dipping his toe into genre films at this point, because he would go on from this to do, he was in that movie Dead and Buried. I don't know if you remember that one.
Is that the one with the band that intercuts every now and then?
The what?
You remember the little like hick band that pops up and sings in between these little segments, or was that?
Oh, no, are you thinking of Dead and Breakfast?
Dead and Breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is a 1981 film, Dead and Buried, that was directed by Gary Sherman, written by Dan O'Bannon too. It's a good fucking movie about Potter's Bluff, weird town called Potter's Bluff. Damn good movie. But man, what's up with dude is obsessed with fucking ass fucking. Robert Englund he wants that ass, dude. I like how he kind of go like right here. You'll notice he doesn't do it right at this moment, but like he jumps off the bed and he's like right here. He goes into Freddy mode. Look at him.
Oh yeah, there's Freddy.
Yeah.
There's Freddy.
He's got the Freddy swagger going on.
Yes,
there.
I saw that.
But yeah, supposedly the story behind this Buck character is he likes to fuck asses. He has sort of an obsession with anal rape.
Okay, so when he's, all raring to fuck, it's ass fucking.
Yeah.
But he paid for it.
Yeah, it's what he wants, man.
Who is this madam here, the queen that walks in? Is this the chick that runs the place?
Yeah, this is Miss Hattie, also known as I think this actress's name is Carolyn Jones. She was in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and she's actually the original Morticia Addams.
Oh.
From the Addams Family,
oh.
yeah. You can't tell because she's got all this fucking makeup caked on her. She looks like goddamn Leatherface.
For a second, I thought she was a zombie.
Yeah, she's got that kind of makeup on her. They were trying to make her look older.
Yeah, I see. And who is this right here? The cutie, the prostitute,
the one that looks like Ellie Church.
Yeah. Yes.
She, her name is, she was like an exploitation actress. Roberta Collins. And I think she was in like Death Race 2000 and some other exploitation flicks. I think she's dead now.
He just gets his way.
Who, Buck?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for his character, this whorehouse would have no business. that's kind of his whole story. Is he keeps this place going, and that's why they drive this bitch out. Is because she wasn't having it.
Yeah.
She was like, "No, Buck, you can't have my asshole," and now they're like, "Well, you're fired."
Yeah, you're fired, and hey, Buck, here's 2 more assholes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're like, Buck likes to fuck, and if you ain't down,
Oh, she's giving her. Oh yeah, she has no money. She's been put out on the road.
yeah. And I like how it kind of has that whole fairy tale opening. Like she's like a lost girl now, and she wanders onto this strange, hotel, and it just has a very
Is this a dark version of Pretty Woman?
yeah, yeah. She's kind of like the hooker with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, for some reason, I know this. I don't know why, but like when I just saw this start to scene to unfold, I felt like of a Disney Dorothy kind of Wizard of Oz, like.
Well, I think that's what he was going for.
And now you get her. She's wandering in the woods.
Yeah, yeah, and this whole movie was shot on a soundstage. And I mean, you can tell just by looking at the setting that
Oh, it's pretty good. I mean, I like this.
Yeah, this was. I mean, if you look at this shot right here, where we have, I can't remember her character's name in the movie, but Roberta Collins. As she's kind of walking up on the hotel, the Starlight Hotel,
mm-hmm.
You can just tell it's shot on a soundstage. If you look at it, it looks very theatrical. But
who is this?
Who?
The Gator. Does he have a name?
I thought you were asking who the girl was again. I'm like, dude, I just told you.
I mean, I am stoned, but no, the Gator.
The Gator. Well, he's kind of the main character of the film, along with Neville Brand here, who's coming to the door.
Do you think the person that did Lake Placid liked this movie or had seen this movie?
I would think anybody that does a film about alligators or crocs would refer back to this one, just for nostalgic reasons or reference.
Is this like the first one, like the first big time killer croc family kind of?
I don't think so, but it may be though, because this was kind of like right after Jaws. So I think that's what they were trying to go for with this movie, is like they were trying to rip off Jaws, even though the story is nothing like Jaws. But you notice like a lot of B films came out after Jaws that were about creatures, from
we talked
lakes
about
and oceans and
bears.
swamps. Yeah. But
okay, so
and also they don't show the croc that much in this movie. So
now Stephen King here. What's his role in the movie?
Are you dissing Neville Brand by calling him Stephen King?
Well, would that be a diss though? It is Stephen King that you're being.
It's not a diss.
I mean, do you think he would be like, yeah, man, I wish I was Stephen King?
Yeah, it's not a diss, but Neville Brand is pretty fucking legendary. This dude was like one of the most like highly decorated World War II veterans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got like the. I was reading about this guy not too long ago, and
So he's a war vet, and then he got into acting.
Yeah, like next to Audie Murphy, the actor. This dude was, he got like the Purple Heart, Silver Star, and
now in acting,
he's a fucking badass,
so
dude. Stephen King never went to war. That's all I was getting at.
Okay, all right.
You just can't compare the two, man. Neville Brand is a fucking war hero. He's a
how did his career go?
I mean, I think he was never A-list, but he did a lot of good character roles, and supposedly he became an actor because he was having PTSD from the war, like shell shock. The dude, and he was a fucking bad alcoholic apparently, and was even drunk numerous times on the set of this. But yeah, he's great in this movie, man. He's just he epitomizes insanity.
You're one. Uh-oh.
Yeah, see, I love how he completely turns. He's like bipolar. He loves, having guests over at his hotel, but then,
He finds that thing that's wrong.
he doesn't like horrors. He doesn't like horrors. And, this was a real suspenseful moment for me when I was a kid, or when I was younger. I didn't really see this movie till I was like 18 because it was really hard to find.
Well, you noticed it was like he was kind of almost fragile until he goes, "You're one of her girls."
Yeah.
And then he stands up straight.
Yeah.
He completely turns into a different well, now he's hugging on her.
Yeah, no, he's trying to stick his dick in her, man. Look at that.
Yeah. He got violent.
Oh yeah, he's about to rape. He's going full Weinstein on her, man. Which is actually an interesting story because he apparently had a crush on this chick, and in real life, they went to dinner together.
These two, while this was being made?
Yeah, and she liked him. I was watching the special features on this, and she did like an interview or maybe she was on the commentary or something, but she said something about how she really liked Neville Brand. She respected him, as an actor, and they had a professional relationship on set. Well, then she goes back to his house, apparently, like he offered to make her dinner. And this is sort of where like fiction becomes reality because like she goes back to his place and he makes her the dinner, and then I guess maybe they started drinking, I don't know, but like she lies next to him and she's got all of her clothes on, and he's like, no woman lies next to me with her clothes on, and he starts fucking just basically trying to rape her like this, and even with her admitting that, when she was talking about this, like she still had respect for him, but she never talked to him again after that incident. And they had already, I guess, wrapped all their scenes up by that point. But I always thought that was an interesting story because it's like, this dude really was crazy in real life.
Well, you kind of freaked me out telling me that story, and it ends with right here with him being crazy,
with him fucking killing her. Yeah. And something else that's cool about this character is he also reminds me of kind of the Chuck Connors character in Tourist Trap. You remember that dude?
Was he the one that did the talking?
He had the wax museum.
Right, the main store.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just keep seeing meteor shit, guy.
Yeah. That's why you said Stephen King.
Yes. All I see is it Jordy
Verrill.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I see Jordy Verrill trying to kill shit.
And look, he's feeding her to the croc.
I wish I had an alligator pet. My dad got to have one. When did the whole having alligators as pets go away?
I don't know, man, but it would be cool,
dude. It would be pretty cool. I mean,
fucking awesome, dude.
Or to just live. Well, I don't know. Could you live on a swamp like that? And where's this at?
This is in the bayous, man. This is takes place in Louisiana, I believe.
Yeah, man. There's too much.
I love this red lighting too. It makes it look like it's real hot and swampy and muggy.
But the bayou, Louisiana bayou stuff, that movies that are shot there are usually really good. The bayou area, the Louisiana bayou area in general, seems to just add so much more to the environment.
And this actually wasn't even shot there either. That's what's crazy. They make it look so real, but this was actually shot at
soundstage.
They shot it in California at Raleigh Studios.
Could you imagine being able to do that? Because you get these sets built for exactly how you're going to move the camera.
Dude, it'd be awesome.
You know what I mean?
It'd be great. Think about going to work. I heard that maybe it was Tobe Hooper talking about this. Somebody was saying that they would step into these sets and it was just this fucking really intense red lighting all day, and then they would be just like sucked into this fairy tale world, and then they would leave and they'd go outside of the studios, and like sunlight would hit them and they would feel all weird. I mean, because this is like its own little world, man.
I feel like it could be a Grimm's tale.
Yeah, it is. It has those fairy tale qualities.
Well,
and you remember me telling you about Derek Botello, the film historian.
Mm-hmm.
He commented. He said this is basically Tobe Hooper's Suspiria. I had to think about that for a while, but now I mean I would have to agree.
The lighting, I would say just because lighting.
It gives it that sense of hyperrealism we were talking about, the surrealistic tone of the movie. There is nothing in this that is intended to be real.
Yeah, it gives you the lighting gives you that fairy tale. It helps bring the fairy tale to life. But
it's very
that's about as far as I could go.
Yeah, it's just very it has a sense of theatricality, I guess.
Yes.
And this was actually based on a true story too, apparently.
Oh yeah. Here he comes again. I like the way they light it here, though.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is it's my favorite part of it. It's like a fever dream or a nightmare, you know. And apparently Tobe Hooper doesn't think too highly of this film either.
Really? Do you think this would have made for like a...
Or he didn't.
I feel like
rest in peace, Tobe.
I feel like I'm also watching a really rad creep show.
Yeah. It has those qualities. George Romero used that same lighting in Creepshow to establish that comic book look, or, I think he picked up a lot of tips from Argento.
It just makes it seem a little bit. It gives it that extra odd sense of unease.
It does make you feel uneasy. When I first saw this movie, I was genuinely scared, just because of the tone and the atmosphere. Right here is Marilyn Burns, the chick from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh.
She's wearing a wig. But
No. I was gonna let that one slide. Yes, I was aware, but I was gonna try not to. His son. But he created him.
No, it's not his son, dude.
I thought he just said son.
No.
What did he say?
It's just
then?
Buck.
Okay.
He doesn't like Buck, man.
Oh, well, that's evident.
But yeah, this was based on a true story, man.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't like Buck because Buck goes to the whorehouse. Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, that little girl, by the way, is Kyle Richards. Do you remember in Halloween, the little girl in Halloween, the first one, John Carpenter's Halloween? Mm-hmm. That's the little girl, played Lindsay.
Is that the laundry room scene? Is she in the laundry room scene?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And she was like a Disney actress, with her sister Kim Richards. She's in a lot of fucking horror movies, Kyle Richards. Around this time, anyway. She was in that movie, The Car. Do you remember The fucking Car?
I think I just saw on Facebook, I saw cover art for that.
Yeah, Scream Factory put it out not too long ago. But, dude, The Car, for a while, man, like, I wanted the Anchor Bay DVD of it, and it went out of print. So I couldn't find the movie for a long time. But I used to see it on TV when I was a kid. And Kyle Richards was in that. And it's weird. She and her sister have both worked with John Carpenter, because Kim Richards was in Assault on Precinct 13.
Man.
But yeah, that's fucking Paris Hilton's aunt. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy,
weird,
isn't it? Yeah.
Now,
so young in this movie too. She's probably like 5 or 6 years old in this movie.
What do you think it was like to shoot this movie or on set? What do you think it was like on set?
I imagine it was a fucking nightmare. I've heard, actually, like, just from what I've read and heard about this movie, it was very tumultuous. I don't think it was a very smooth shoot.
Oh, really? Well, it's got a really, to me, now this is totally my opinion, but it's got a really classy look to it in a way.
It's classy, but it's gritty also.
Well, I see that, but for some, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but for a second, I thought I was watching like a Hitchcock movie with this one with the woman coming over to her daughter. Like,
Yeah, well, Tobe Hooper loves Hitchcock, and especially you can pick up a lot of those sort of like homages and nuances, like in Salem's Lot. There's a lot of Hitchcockian shots in Salem's Lot, a lot of slow tracking shots, but yeah,
this is probably like
I was trying to, man, I was looking up that dude. Oh, the butcher of Elmendorf. The true story that this was based on. They called the dude the Butcher of Elmendorf because he was like he was this dude that, I think he had a form of PTSD, and this was like after Prohibition in the 30s, and he had a bar that where he had like a pet alligator out in the swamp, behind the bar, and he apparently like this character Judd was based off this dude because he fed like a bunch of women to his croc or his alligator or whatever, and they never really found the bodies. They could never, detect any human flesh in the swamp or whatever, and but then he committed suicide before the police
could get him.
Yeah, so it's rumored that he basically fed people to his croc. Now, I always thought that was an interesting story because, it's like around this time Tobe Hooper was trying to do these movies that were loosely based off of true stories.
Well, I mean,
like Leatherface based off Ed Gein and.
Well, finding stories like that are based off of reality or things that have happened make it that much scarier.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a monster movie and a real horror like this, because monster movies are kind of make-believe. This could come from an actual loose-based event.
I mean, this shit could really happen, dude.
Yeah, there was a guy feeding people to his crocodile, and these could be that family or what they've gone through,
and all these weird fucking people in this movie, like this guy William Finley. This is all Kim Hinkle's doing, like the screenwriter. Apparently, he just knows how to write these really bizarre characters.
So he pretty much, his gator ate their dog. So he gives them a free room.
Yeah. And I love this part right here. It's like fucking Neville Brand is not even acting, man. Look at he's in tears. It's like he doesn't want to be bad.
Yeah. You just saw him try to clean up what he would say was dirty or evil after he wanted to rape it and get rid of it. But now when his gator kills a dog, it's like, oh, they're trying to add that whole like, are they trying? It's like giving him heart or trying to give you a little bit of snotty nose motherfucker.
Well, yeah, I don't think deep down like Judd's character really wants to do any of this. I think he's driven. He's driven to do it.
Okay.
It's something he can't control.
The situation just will eventually end there. Or lead there.
It's like some kind of fate,
Who is this guy? Actor-wise?
This dude is William Finley, and he's dead now, but Brian De Palma used him a lot. He was in he's probably most well known for Phantom of the Paradise, but he was also in Tobe Hooper used him in the Funhouse after this too, but Brian De Palma probably used him the most.
Okay, Funhouse. That's maybe why I kind of recognize him.
He was definitely in the Funhouse, and he always played these really bizarre, bug-eyed characters.
Would they have been manic or kind of?
Just kind of off the wall.
Who do you think really shines in this movie? Like,
well, I mean, Neville Brand.
Neville Brand. So if his name's on the marquee.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a really weird moment that
feels like an Italian shot. I feel
And just look at this scene right here. I love this. Like this, just like he just wants to fucking crush his wife's head, and you know, this is the kind of stuff you don't see in movies nowadays, because this is sort of just a character moment between these two fucking people who obviously hate each other,
Right.
but they never really delve into what makes their marriage so rocky or tumultuous.
Yeah.
But that's a very iconic Tobe Hooper moment, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre had moments like that too, where it was just like they would zoom in on something that was really bizarre, and it would kind of take you out of the story and just show you how fucked up people are. It reminds me of the fucking drunk at the beginning of Texas Chainsaw that kind of like, he's kind of like just laying there laughing, all drunk, and the movie just kind of stops and just focuses on this dude for a second and says, you know, let's just observe life for a moment. Let's just kind of show you the atmosphere and the environment, and just show you how fucked up these people are.
Yeah, I mean, if she was a nagger,
Yeah.
or this,
well, they never really tell you exactly what happens, and I think like with
does she wear the pants?
Yeah,
You get that from it, that she wears the pants?
Yeah, and she's upset with him for some reason. You just don't know why. They've been fighting about something, like even before they got to the hotel.
To me, he looks weak and nerdy, and she's just tired. Like, she's always having to do the thing, and he's just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, he's had it.
I mean,
He's had it, man. It was just a really good moment of characterization.
now he's thinking of what to do, right? What do you think he's...
Yeah, he's just, he doesn't know what to do when people are in his hotel. You know, it almost,
He wants them, but then doesn't know what to do when they're there.
yeah. And he's kind of got like to me, I think that this movie was, I don't want to say it's based off like Psycho, but it kind of has that Psycho feel to it too. Like,
the Hitchcock thing.
yeah, I don't think there's a horror movie after 1960 that wasn't influenced by Psycho in some way. I mean, even Texas Chainsaw Massacre had some Psycho moments. But yeah, here's this guy, fucking Mel Ferrer. He was a pretty legendary actor. I don't remember this chick's name.
Well, she's
kind of hot.
I really haven't got a sense of who might be a heroine yet.
Well, that's kind of what I like about this movie.
I don't really know who's like...
You don't really know who the main protagonist is.
He does look like a legendary actor, so he was, or...
Yeah, he was Mel Ferrer. I'm trying to remember.
No.
I think he was in a lot of TV, but see, this is the horror was his daughter.
Yep. He was looking for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just me, or have you noticed, like, there's a lot of the red lighting when it's on the visitors, but when it's on the old man, it's kind of like that natural light?
Yeah. Maybe that was just coincidence, or...
Well, you notice whenever the family went into the room, it was like all of a sudden back into like that red world, kind of like their prison, and he's just got the red over there and a little red tint on him.
Well, and it's pouring through the windows. Mm-hmm. It's like anytime they're near a window, they're going to be, bleached with the red light. But
I just haven't seen a lot of red on that guy yet. He always seems to just be that nasty, like kind of grayish.
Yeah. It's playing with contrast,
Mm-hmm. But I like a lot of colors. Good
contrast. Yeah, and this has a monochromatic look too. It's not like it's not polychromatic like most of the films from like Bava, stuff like that, like Argento. I mean, this movie has just a lot of intense red, with some maybe the occasional blue key light here and there, but it feels very otherworldly. And I think Tobe Hooper at this time just didn't want to repeat himself with Chainsaw.
Okay, you said what was it with the Bava, like the brightness? Would you say this is like a Bava or Argento film, but Southern style, with a Southern style to it? Like Tobe Hooper is like,
I mean, stylistically, I don't know. I mean, I could see how people would make that comparison, but I mean, Tobe Hooper never did anything that was really derivative of Italian cinema. It's hard to know where Tobe Hooper, derived his influences from, because I know he was a fan of Hitchcock, but I don't know if he was a fan of Italian cinema or not. But I love this scene right here where like this dude is talking about how like his wife gouged his fucking eye out. And he just goes off on a tangent here, and it's a very theatrical performance from William Finley, and he just like starts crawling on the floor looking for his fucking eyeball. It's the most insane, awkward, nonsensical fucking scene, but it's great.
well, he's crazy. You're seeing
Yeah,
you're seeing the extreme of that character.
yeah, you're seeing that he's just fucking delusional, and he's probably just as crazy as Judd. I like how they cut to Kyle Richards too, like showing her like covering her ears and stuff. That always just kind of disturbed me when I watch this film. It makes you feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, kids don't want to hear this stuff. Kids don't want to hear parents fighting.
Yeah, especially these two crazy fucks.
Yeah, can you imagine how, like, because, this is just normal fighting I'm talking about, or just not even our fighting, like civil disagreements.
And this dude's crawling on the floor looking for his eyeball, in front of his daughter.
Yeah.
And then he starts barking at her. Holy, I forgot about this shit. I mean, this dude was such a great fucking character actor. He was used in Brian De Palma's Sisters also. The one with Margot Kidder.
How did he get that wife?
I know. You mean Sherry Moon Zombie over here?
Yeah. I mean,
I know he's like, they're like totally mismatched.
Oh man. That's just what I'm thinking. Like, do you think?
Why was she wearing the wig?
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry.
No, seriously, why was she wearing the wig?
Maybe there's something bad. Maybe they're running.
This movie leaves a lot to the imagination.
Like, she's a Bond girl. Who knows? Like, that's the only reason she's with him.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like, when you date some people for so long before you get married, you know certain things about them. Yeah. How did she not know that this dude's crazy?
I would say your wife is still finding out things about you, though, right?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, you really...
I would have to say I never barked like a dog, though.
Well, maybe she hasn't pushed you to that point yet.
Okay. Maybe.
I mean, this dude is straight up fucking bipolar schizophrenic, just like Judd, probably.
I think he loved that dog a lot.
Yeah, well, I think it's he feels emasculated now.
Because his little dog died?
No, well, that was his daughter's dog, and she's upset, so he feels like he needs to go take care of it because his wife is basically like,
be a man.
Yeah, be a man and see.
And does he look like a man? No.
Yeah. And there's like a cool little insert shot right here when he shoots at the croc. I think it cuts back to the room, and Marilyn Burns says, "Daddy's off to slay the dragon." And I love that line. That's probably, one of the most memorable moments of this movie. You'll see it in a few seconds, I believe, but it gives it just more of that fairy tale quality,
Oh man. Come on. Ooh. That is a pretty cool line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Man,
these aren't the greatest effects, but
dude, I think that was pretty cool, dude.
it's cool. But
look at the time period you're in. For that time period that
no,
this
I
was
mean,
made,
you're right. I mean, and the croc, apparently it was like this mock-up. It was like just a head.
mm-hmm.
And William Finley had to like force himself into the croc's mouth because they just didn't have the it's a lot like Jaws. They had
I was about to say,
they had
problems. It's
problems.
their Jaws.
Yeah, they had problems with the fucking croc. Couldn't get it to work right.
So she's wearing a wig.
Well, not anymore.
Well, no, I know now. I'm just putting all these things together, like
trying to figure out who the fuck she is.
Well, why she was wearing a like? Is she an obedient like housewife that has to wear a wig?
I don't get it. And I don't get it.
She's prim and proper, but when she takes it off, she smokes cigarettes and can be all like, I don't know, different. Also, earlier I thought that was a Nazi flag he's sitting on.
Really?
Yeah, like earlier you were talking, so I didn't want to say anything, but I thought that was a Nazi flag. It was really interesting. I wanted to...
There's a lot about this Judd character that we don't know. We just know a lot of his quirks and eccentricities here. Like right here, he's snorting fucking BC powder, or not snorting it. He's just
Well, no crap. He has these people that keep coming to his hotel that happen that he has to feed to his croc, or they keep getting fed to his croc.
Yeah.
And now it's giving him a headache.
Well, and that was actually like that was based off the real life dude too. They said that he snorted BC.
Well,
that BC made me feel better already.
When was Motel Hell compared to this?
That was probably like maybe 4 or 5 years later.
Man, the 70s. The 70s are the era for this.
For this kind of like these kind of stories, man. It's like ever since Deliverance. Ever since Deliverance, they were dealing with sort of the story of like crazy backwoods hillbillies, and it's the kind of movies that I really miss. Like, I remember not really liking Wrong Turn when it first came out, but now I love that movie because it reminds me so much of like The Hills Have Eyes.
Really? I kind of avoided that movie.
Wrong Turn? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Dude, it's great.
I think I've seen it, but for some reason, I go off of emotion and feeling, and there's just like a no when I hear that movie.
Well, go back and revisit it because I actually didn't like it. When I first saw it in the theater, I was like, "Oh, this is just by the numbers bullshit." But when you go back and watch it, it'll remind you of the '70s movies because they were basically like they didn't explain why people did things. They just would present this great evil at the beginning of the story, and it's like you just had to know that character was inherently evil, and their objective was to fucking kill. That's all you needed to know. I mean, especially like this guy.
Who do you think Hooper has a? What do you think of his storytelling track record? Is he up there in the tops of his horror stories? Because they're pretty.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Even though he's had his fair share of flops, that's. I mean,
but they're pretty raw and they're like pretty crazy. Like if you. Just because of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's that crazy family.
Just that alone he makes him legendary. But
he can find these things, these crazy characters, and just
I
don't know. And that's just with this. I guess the comparison between just seeing this one and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And this movie and Chainsaw and the Funhouse. To me, are kind of like a trilogy of sorts, because they're similar in tone.
I'd have to say Funhouse is my least favorite.
Really?
Of those, three.
I'd say so too. Like, and they weren't made like consecutively. But I consider that sort of like a Tobe Hooper trilogy because they were all similar in tone. Because he did Salem's Lot. And he did Poltergeist, and
Poltergeist, man, that doesn't.
No, it doesn't count because it's nothing. But
what was the other one you said? Poltergeist and what?
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Because he did Salem's Lot before he did the Funhouse. But Salem's Lot is a completely different directorial style, and that's what I like about Hooper is he never repeated himself. You'll notice in this movie, like he does a lot of zooms, and there's some handheld stuff. Now, whether or not it was directed by him, I don't know, because he didn't direct this whole picture. He quit.
Right, you were mentioning that.
Maybe midway during the production, I don't know. But apparently the cinematographer did a lot of this directing. The producer directed some fucking scenes. But it's almost like you can tell which scenes were directed by Hooper. Because he does kind of have like a signature style, I think.
Do you think you could pick it out?
Yeah, I would say like, God, that moment with William Finley, that was all Tobe Hooper. And you'll see like he doesn't do a lot of like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, it's like he used the Technicrane or the Luma crane a lot. He did a lot of jib shots, tracking shots. In the Funhouse, he shot that in like CinemaScope or 16:9. I think that was like his first official like widescreen movie, or 2:35:1 ratio.
Okay.
And I think he used a lot of crane shots in that and Steadicam. In this, it looks like it's shot on sticks, and there's a lot of weird zooms, and this movie almost kind of has like a TV movie feel to it. Just the way it's shot.
Okay.
Not like
no way it looks.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, not the execution of the story per se.
Man, this dude's ruthless.
Yeah.
Now, where would you put this guy in the list of like monsters or horror killer kind of like? Where does this character in this movie like rank up there with some of the? It doesn't have to be. It can be a franchise character. It doesn't have to be a franchise character. Like,
yeah, well, he's not very well known. That's the thing. That's the sad part. Is like a lot of people don't even know about this movie.
Really?
They really don't. I mean, it's kind of sad. Like, I wish it was
because if people know Norman Bates, when we brought that up, like a little bit of that, but like this is like Norman Bates when he doesn't have control. Norman Bates was like a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
Or
he did seem shy. He was real awkward and he stuttered, This guy just flat out fucking, I mean, he just comes after you. This is one of the scariest moments of the film. When he's coming after the little girl and she goes into the fucking crawl space. Kyle Richards was saying that she developed like a nervous tic. She was fucking, like when she was filming this, she was really traumatized. She was genuinely terrified of Neville Brand.
It makes for good footage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think Tobe Hooper, I think he encourages that environment. Like, I think he wants people to feel uneasy when they show up for work because it makes for a better horror film. And supposedly one of the reasons why he even hired Marilyn Burns for Chainsaw was because she was the loudest fucking screamer.
There she goes.
I mean, yeah. You have to deliver the goods, man. And Tobe Hooper's good at just like putting you in that moment. Like this part where she keeps saying please, and he keeps saying please. It's a disturbing scene, man. A lot of extreme close-ups and jarring handheld camera movements. Fucking Tobe Hooper doing what he does.
I was about to say
if he directed that.
Yeah, that little sequence right there was really awesome, and I was wondering. I felt like that reminded me, or gave me a sense of Chainsaw Massacre, or
yeah. Well, and it's Marilyn Burns too. I mean, she's the main girl in Chainsaw,
so here, this is Misery, but turned around backwards. But this guy is pretty awesome, man. You gotta like.
I really like his character a lot.
I mean, he's crazy, but you got him. He's taken out a lot.
Yeah.
He's done a lot, and
And
he's twisted.
yeah, I mean, I actually, the character of Clovis Cobb that I put into Friday Night Frenzy, I based a lot of his character off of this character.
Oh, well,
Like this, I'm heavily influenced by this movie. With anything that I write or any idea I try to come up with, this movie just sticks with me. And it's a lot like Chainsaw Massacre in that aspect. Like you can't unsee this movie, and it's not as seminal of a film as the original Texas Chainsaw, but this to me is what I'd call like a misunderstood masterpiece because I feel like it got overlooked and sort of overshadowed.
Do you think that it was because people were looking for the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or was this?
They sort of build up those expectations in their mind.
And would you say? I wonder. Do you think Rob Zombie is influenced by this?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting I can see some influences.
Oh, definitely, man.
He'd have to be.
Tobe Hooper, you can tell is a big influence on Rob Zombie, especially in House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Fuck, I'd even say like even his Halloween remake has a lot of Tobe Hooper's, just Tobe Hooper like scenes. Because Rob Zombie kind of deals with the same thing too, like twisted backwoods rednecks.
Oh, dude, it's the best.
Yeah,
I mean that's the stuff that
just weird country folk, man.
Yeah, I'm a weird back folk country and cult.
Yeah,
like the occult.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to say one of my favorite subgenres of horror is, the twisted redneck subgenre. Just strange hillbillies. Because you don't know. It's like this fucking dialogue he's spitting here. It makes no sense.
It's about how they see the world.
Exactly.
And that's their reality can be so obscured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they see the world through a very distorted lens.
Well, look at his festivals.
And he's having.
Was that trying? I don't know if I was trying to spectacles and testicles in one or what, but anyways, I mean they are taped together. I don't know. Pardon my French. That's a Chadism. There's going to be a lot of those.
That's what's known as a Chadism, folks.
Yeah.
Chad makes up his own words every now and then. But I understood your interpretation.
Well, it made me see the dude with testicles on his face instead of glasses all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
you were just thinking about testicles.
Yeah.
You ain't got to lie.
Yeah. On his face. I was thinking about testicles on his face right there.
And this is the first time you meet the sheriff here.
Okay, and
this dude, I think, was the guy who plays the sheriff. He was in that movie that we always talk about with the bunnies, the killer bunnies, fucking Night of the Lepus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That guy was in it?
Yeah, he was.
Oh.
He was.
For a second, I was going to ask you if it was Columbo, but I realized it wasn't.
Yeah. Kind of does have that. He's like a rustic-looking Peter Falk.
Yeah.
He's got some hellacious eyebrows going on there, too.
Where are we at, like, act-wise?
We're well into the, I would say, the middle of the second act. Yeah.
What brought in the second act? Would you say the when the dad shows up looking for the daughter, or
around that time.
Family, or after the first kill, the girl?
Well, they were kind of around the same time, from what I remember. It's like pretty much the second act kicks off when the family comes into the
arrives.
Yeah, to the
and that's
hotel.
right after the girl gets killed.
I would say so. Yeah.
So the girl gets killed. That ends your first act, and then we enter the second act.
Yeah. I'd say it's more or less when the like with the little dog dies.
Okay, so you're saying dog death. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of when the stakes were raised. I mean, It's like yeah, yeah. This guy was in Night of the Lepus. I can't remember his name. Stuart Whitman.
Who is this jabroni?
That's the dude I was telling you about earlier, Mel Ferrer.
Okay.
He was in a movie. This is interesting because he was in another movie called Eaten Alive, and
he just looks like a pompous jabroni.
Yeah. Well, he's classy though, man. Look at him, like
classy ball sacks.
You and fucking ball sacks, man.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about balls right now?
Because I said testicle spectacles or whatever. Man, you know how terrified it'd be I hate being under a house.
I know.
I don't see how you did it, but I could not be under a house.
Oh yeah, I used to crawl under so many fucking houses and
like
crawl spaces and attics.
Is this accurate?
Accurate?
Yeah, accurate. That's putting a little academic spin to it.
Yeah. As accurate as far as what?
What it was like under there.
Oh yeah, no, it's real claustrophobic.
Because
real claustrophobic. Like this little girl right here. Like, I understand why Kyle Richards was traumatized from this. I mean, this would be fucking awful having like Neville Brand, who's a real fucking war veteran, who's playing a dude who's a war veteran.
Yeah.
Who has flashbacks.
Yeah.
Who's playing a dude who has flashbacks. I mean, so it's like he's really going fucking crazy. And then you got Tobe Hooper, who was probably coked out of his mind. I don't know if he ever did cocaine. I think that's just a rumor. But Tobe Hooper was probably just like, I don't know, I can chase her around.
What do you think? So
kill her.
What was the whole point?
Just get the shot.
Like, do you think he cracked on this or just had to leave?
Do you know that the story behind it goes?
You may have said it earlier. I've just smoked a lot of pot.
Yeah. Surely you're not high. Are you high?
No, but just tell me a nice little story.
Okay. Well,
see, look, it's red again, coming right on into.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this is the whorehouse.
Yeah, this is the whorehouse. Well, there's going to be red lights in the whorehouse.
It's not a whorehouse.
Fucking red light district, sir.
Unless there's a. Oh, crap. My brain just farted. They did a tourist trap to her.
I was going to tell you, oh man, what were we talking about? Oh, the Tobe Hooper. He and Marty Rustum did not get along, apparently. I think Marty Rustum was very dictatorial, and Tobe Hooper was like, he's an artist.
And Marty Russell was producer or
Marty Rustum was the producer. And he even co-directed some fucking scenes, I think, in this because, Tobe Hooper just, I think at that point left, and Marty Rustum. There's a scene later on that I think Marty Rustum shot. I'm not going to talk about it now because it's just funny. You just have to see it, but. Dude, I have to talk about the makeup artist in this movie for a second. Yeah, I don't know this. There's a guy named Craig Reardon that is like super fucking famous now, or just
keep going.
He's he's credible in the industry, but this was his first thing to work on, and I think I'm pretty sure he did the makeup for Morticia Addams here.
Do you want to know what I was thinking about it?
What?
I've always wondered whatever happened to the girl in Willy Wonka that blew up like the big blueberry and how they got it.
Yeah.
But she went on to live to look like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that states what I think about the job. But
and like, dude, that makeup job, you can tell it's kind of amateur, but that dude went on to do
great things.
Like Dick Tracy.
Don't they say that you learn from your first thing?
Yeah.
You learn a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, Dick Tracy, though? Okay.
Well, and you
Dick Tracy's amazing.
Yeah. Because, like, remember all the fucking gangster characters that he had to do makeup for?
And I haven't seen Dick Tracy on Blu-ray yet, so I also don't know, I bet this looked
Tracy
better.
Has some cool lighting in it, too, come to think of it.
Oh, Dick Tracy was awesome. I used to watch that all the time.
It's got a highly vibrant, saturated look. Yeah, but Craig Reardon, he would go on to he worked on Child's Play 3, Weird Science. He did the makeup for Sloth in the Goonies.
Okay, I could see
that. But when you look at that makeup job, it's like, he was just learning how to do it.
Yeah, you can see it.
But I think he went on to work with Tobe Hooper in other films too. Poltergeist, I think. He may have worked on the Funhouse.
Like
but Craig Reardon's been around for a long time. He's awesome.
When I asked you that, if this was accurate, because your background at one time was going under houses.
Yeah.
This looks accurate.
For people out there who don't know, I used to work in heat and air, and I had to crawl under a lot of nasty fucking houses and crawl into a lot of nasty attics.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of accurate. Why is it in movies they aren't very accurate with crawling in air duct?
Yeah, that's very that's something you see in action movies that is very unrealistic.
Like, this is pretty realistic, but then
I hate it when they show people crawling around in air conditioning ducts because it's not realistic.
Exactly.
We talked about this all the time because you would see, if it was real ductwork, you would have dust all in that motherfucker. It wouldn't be this, shiny metal, and you would have screws poking up through it.
Yeah.
You would have fucking every time there was a 90-degree turn, you would have these things called turning vanes, and they would essentially block your path. You wouldn't even be able to go any further unless you just, busted them out.
So it'd actually make movies that actually went into a realistic duct like that scarier.
It would.
It would.
Yeah.
I just brought that up. It's totally off the subject, but
no, but I see what you're saying. Like,
this is just really realistic.
But this is highly realistic. Like, this is what it would be like in a crawl space. You would have the fucking cobwebs and.
I would be flipping out. My arachnophobia would be going ape shit right now.
And dude, Neville Brand was probably having flashbacks and shit, and he was probably drunk. Dude, it's real sad what happened to this guy, man. He just apparently he just drank all the fucking time, and
dude, war vets probably just go to drinking.
That was his way of coping. But acting apparently was his therapy.
There goes Mr. Assface. I know this dude right here.
You leave this fucking legendary actor alone, dude.
Well, he's playing a really annoying character.
I think he's about to die.
Is he British?
No, he had some
hoot, chirp.
I think he had some Latino in him, I think.
I totally stumped you with that. Look, that high irrelevant question.
What? Yeah.
Was this what are you doing? I'm sorry. I'm high, and I was just thinking because I've just been honest. I've been getting this spit it out today, Junior. This really foreign feel to this. Like the husband, the way he looked and the character, I just felt like he was almost like a foreign actor, even though they're probably not. I just get this real foreign feel.
He actually is. I think he's like Latino. He's got something in him, But I think he dated Audrey Hepburn in real life too.
Oh, well, I'm instantly jealous. There's why I don't like him.
Yeah,
there's why I don't like him,
because he got a piece of that Audrey Hepburn ass.
Yes, he didn't treat it right.
Yeah, I think he was in that movie Charade with Audrey Hepburn, and I think he...
Don't tell me more. I want to kill him. Is he already dead?
He's about to die. I think as soon as he hears the girl crying underneath there, old Judd comes out with his fucking... man, what would you call that?
The scythe?
Yeah.
Scythe? Not a sickle, a scythe.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Because he's like death.
Mm-hmm. Dude's a pretty crazy character.
Yeah, and this is a good special effect here. This is awesome.
Well,
I like how in older horror movies, they never quite showed the impact, but they showed you the after effect.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm just watching this and it being in the 70s, man. To me, it's the horror I like because they take it serious.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's a lot of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of...
And this movie has comedy, but it's like a dark type of wit.
Yeah.
It's a very dark sense of humor. Like when the dude was on the floor looking for his eyeball and he's barking at his wife, you know, that's all laughable stuff, but it's still like very
No, that's crazy.
It's disturbing.
I didn't laugh at it.
It's very disturbing.
I didn't know how to perceive it. Like, to me, I didn't take it as funny. To me, it was like, this dude is losing, you know.
It's not, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not slapsticky.
Yeah. Or, well, okay, maybe like that moment in Heredity where I had to laugh when the dude screams or cries. It was like Heredity was going really good for
Hereditary.
me. Or yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, I laughed at one part in there because of a laugh or a way
like when the son was reduced to a fucking newborn baby.
Yeah,
he was just like
yeah. It really threw me out. Okay, see, I laugh at that.
Yeah, that was a laughable part in the movie. Yeah. It's because it wasn't entirely realistic.
Okay.
And I don't know. I couldn't buy into it.
I thought it was a corny.
And see, with these movies, like the ones from the 70s, and people can make fun of them all they want, but the humor in this movie is sort of under the surface. It's disturbing, and there's a certain verisimilitude to what they're saying. Like their dialogue is real. It's like it's not a poorly written movie. Like I see so many poorly written movies nowadays, and like for instance, there's a segment coming up in this bar scene, and it really serves. It doesn't serve the plot whatsoever, but there's like these dudes kind of break out into a bar fight, and then you never see the two characters ever again. It's just like it's so weird, but it kind of captures like realistically what would happen in a bar like this. Whereas like you see a lot of new horror films now, and everything is structured to serve the plot. Mm-hmm. And you know this guy right here. This is the guy I'm talking about, the cowboy
the dude from Wings.
You're talking about Steven. Oh God, what was his name? Steven Weber.
I don't know. I just saw a dude from Wings. What?
But yeah, like this chick right here, Janice Blythe. She was in The Hills Have Eyes.
Man. And
also The Incredible Melting Man. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I
just blew your mind, didn't I?
I don't know how. I mean, it is pretty stoned right now, so I don't know.
If you haven't seen that, it's fucking awesome. It's about this.
Is it in the 70s?
Yeah, it's where the monster like just is melting throughout the whole movie.
Oh,
it's great, but yeah, Janice Blythe. She was in The Hills Have Eyes. She played one of the cannibal chicks.
Who's this guy that just walked up? Is he anybody? Like, do you know if any of these people in here are like?
No, that's what I'm saying.
These guest appearances or anything.
Well, I don't know either one of these guys, but these were the two characters I was talking about that basically get in this little squabble here, yeah. And it's just a funny moment, man. There's like a moment of levity here, and I guess he's supposed to be a friend of Robert Englund's, but you never see him again, and it's kind of just like kind of shows you how these bars really were, like these dirty fucking sleazy drunk people.
They all knew each other. It was like a weird family.
Yeah, and they're just acting like fucking reprobates, you know. But all this does is just sort of establish character. It doesn't. This is not moving the story forward whatsoever.
No, it's letting you know more Buck because you got to bring Buck back now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that Buck kind of disappeared when he showed up since he was told to go away.
Yeah.
And is that our first time seeing him? So it's like an introduction scene back to seeing Buck.
It's been a while since we've seen old Buck.
Dude, I was about to say, like, did you notice how sheriff?
Yeah.
Came walking in there with his shirt unbuttoned and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's how you know you're watching a 70s films, because the sheriffs and law officers.
Yeah. He does have it unbuttoned.
Oh, dude.
Got the chest, when he was
walking in, he had this swagger to him. That stuff was he had parted. It was like probably like the costume people were like no close, but then when they said action, he pulled it apart to show it more as he strutted across. He had a Jason strut from like what was it, part 3 going on.
Yeah, he had that swagger. Yeah, this is back when men looked like men.
They're the law, man.
Yeah, I just don't think men look like this anymore. Like,
no, we've been domesticated.
Yeah,
we button our shirts all the way up now.
Yeah. You know, these dudes always just kind of had this rustic, rough look. Like they fucking like drank cowboy coffee every morning, ate nails for breakfast.
Exactly. It was like
and probably smoked fucking hundreds of cigarettes a day.
Yeah. If his horse died while he was on the range, he would just catch a wild horse just immediately.
Yeah. And I have a hard time remembering what other movies that dude's been in, other than Night of the Lepus. But
yeah, you're gonna have to give him a little bit more cred than Night of the Lepus because I remember from that's those rabbits.
Yeah, he's got one of those faces though, man. I just can't put my finger on it. But
do you think Tarantino is into Hooper? Has he come out and say anything?
Yeah. Well, I would say, with him ripping that line off,
Oh, yeah. I guess we did talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I'm seeing a lot of it. Or I feel like I'm, like, picking up on hints of that through Tarantino while I'm watching this.
Yeah, and, I know they've met each other in real life. I think Tarantino actually has screened some of Hooper's movies at his own personal theater. Oh, Freddie fucking talking shit to the sheriff.
Now, so how many years go by before he's cast as Freddie? Like,
oh, this is young Robert Englund, dude. I mean,
like he has no clue what's about to happen to his life.
Yeah, no. I mean,
he is about to create the most icon. Like he is. You have the monsters, the original monsters, but then he is the next set of monsters.
Yeah. And this predates Nightmare on Elm Street by about 8 years. So, I mean, yeah, it's...
He has no clue where he's about to go.
No. And, dude, you can just tell Robert Englund just has this strut to him. Like, you can, anytime you watch him in anything before Nightmare on Elm Street, you can just tell that's fucking Freddy. Like, he was meant to play Freddy. Right. Like, that is his character. Mm-hmm. Fuck Jackie Earl Haley. Fuck Kevin Bacon. There's only one Freddy. And that's Robert goddamn Englund.
I mean, and this is coming from somebody that likes to watch, I guess, well, I don't like watching necessarily remakes, but I want to see those guys, those characters in new stuff, but, like, it's not going to work. Freddy franchise will not work without Englund.
No, and he's
maybe for a younger generation, but for us that grew up with the real Freddy, the only Freddy.
Well, I think even the younger generation doesn't like Jackie Earl Haley as Freddy. I mean,
well, I'm talking about.
And I'm not blaming it on him, but dude, Robert Englund, he
created it, dude. Yeah. The walk, the swag.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm talking about like if they decided to reboot now for like my kids' generation or kids that are, they're gonna see if they can change it. That's the only way you can change it. Otherwise, it's never gonna work.
Right. I don't believe in fucking reboots and reimaginings and requels and retcons and all this shit. They need to leave these movies alone, man. Come up with new ideas.
There hasn't been many that work. They may make money up front, but then they are critically.
They're gonna make money.
Mm-hmm.
They'll definitely make money, but critically they're gonna be bombs.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you rather just put out a movie that is like critically makes money and is critically liked,
acclaimed? Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah. It's. I mean, there used to be more risk takers. And not just Hollywood, but on the indie circuit too. I mean, there were producers that were they wanted to tell stories. And they weren't...
Take a chance.
Yeah, exactly. They were gamblers. Mm-hmm. Old school gamblers.
They believed in the talent that they got behind it. They believed in Tooper. My mouth is so dry, I can't. Dude. Chinglish. Like they believed in Hooper back then.
Well,
They would
totally, yeah. Well, dude, everybody believed in Hooper after Chainsaw,
and like, but
that was because Chainsaw Massacre. What Tobe Hooper didn't go to Hollywood after that movie. He went back to fucking Austin, Texas, and people were coming to him. Mm-hmm. They were like, "Dude, this is the guy that directed fucking Chainsaw." So they knew he could do it.
When do you think that like stopped? When the producers stopped believing in the director or the talent or the vision of the director?
Well, that obviously happened in the
80s.
Yeah, that was when, because even that's when Tobe Hooper's decline started happening. He started losing creative control when he signed with Canon Films, because he did Texas Chainsaw 2. He had like a 3-picture deal with Canon Films. Mm-hmm. So he did Texas Chainsaw 2, he did Invaders from Mars, and then he did that movie Life Force, which is fucking...
I just moved that.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Oh, yeah. I've got it sitting out totally. I love... I've been into Tobe Hooper a lot here lately, but he's always inspired me. Like, I watch his films and I get immediately inspired. But that's, it's kind of sad what happened to his career, because he did start doing a lot of TV, and he went back to film in the early to mid 90s, I think. He did Spontaneous Combustion, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but then he did The Mangler.
I have fond memory of The Mangler.
The Mangler was good. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a fan of The Mangler. Oh, here's the scene I was telling you about that I don't believe Tobe Hooper was involved in this, because there's like close-up shots of Janice Blythe's tits here, and Tobe Hooper, it doesn't feel like a Tobe Hooper move. It
feels like a producer that wanted to see boobs.
Yeah, I think Marty Rustam got in there, because I was looking at some BTS pictures, and they showed this chick, Janice Blythe. They showed her and Robert Englund sort of making out in the bed, and here we have an extreme close up of a tit. That is, Tobe Hooper would not do that. But I saw the BTS pic, and it looked like he was the producer, Marty Rustam. Tobe Hooper was nowhere in sight, so obviously Marty Rustam was directing the scene. But he was sort of like framing up with his hands, like the extreme close up of the boob.
You know what it reminded me of, though? Just add a little bit of like sweat, and it reminds me of like 90s sex scenes.
yeah. Well, like this right here. This is not Hooper's style, man. To show like these extremely pornographic shots. I mean, he was all for
tying women up,
suggestive. yeah. He was for suggestive stuff, but he didn't just like flat out throw it in your face and be really gratuitous with it, because it's like Chainsaw Massacre. That doesn't have any blood in it, really, although people think that it does. But yeah, I mean, even with Tobe Hooper leaving this production, I still think this movie is solid as fuck.
I mean, I think it's a really good horror movie.
I mean,
I can't find anything to really laugh about.
Right. No.
If you make me laugh or take me out, then
yeah,
I don't classify you as horror. This movie.
And just look at the cast that it had. I think the actors had a lot to do with it too. I mean, you're talking legendary people: Neville Brand, Marilyn Burns, Carolyn Jones, the fucking sheriff guy from Night of the Lepus, Mel Ferrer. There was just a lot of Robert Englund. I mean, just a lot of fucking people who brought their A game. Kyle Richards even was a good child actress for that time.
I'll listen to music.
Yeah, shit's about to go down. Does
the music play well with this? With how the scenes go?
Yeah.
The select music choice. I've noticed this. I like this song that is going on with at this part right here.
Well, because there's a lot of cross-cutting back and forth. A lot of cuts showing Judd kind of losing his mind, and then you're seeing like Marilyn Burns struggling on the bed. And then I want to say Yeah, then you got Kyle Richards fucking just still in that goddamn crawl space. You know, it gets really intense, but I think the girl... where is the girl who's looking for her father? Has she showed up yet?
Dude, you're asking the guy that's got a 2-foot bong in front of him. What are you...
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Put me on the fucking spot. Maybe this is why I don't remember movies.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think she has shown back up yet. I think this is the part.
Yeah, I was about to say I haven't.
I think Robert Englund's about to die.
Oh, look at that. He's strutting out there. He's got some. Dude, I like the music that's playing with these scenes.
Yeah. Dude, Robert Englund apparently said something like I think the Japanese cut of this film, I don't know how true this is, but he said that in the Japanese cut there were like inserted porno shots in his sex scene with that girl. They had like extreme close-ups of just other footage, like stock footage, you know, to make it look more pornographic. I don't know, but I think that's what Robert Englund said about this. But it was only in the Japanese cut.
You should buy it and buy a player that can watch it.
Yeah. I've got a dongle.
Do you?
Yeah. All I gotta do is hook it to the back of my Oppo, and dude, I can watch any Blu-ray from any region.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really like his performance, Robert Englund's performance in this.
Yeah.
But man,
he plays such a fucking sleaze, man. Just obsessed with ass fucking and.
Well, I guess I mean, he's a believable character. I like his acting.
Yeah. Well, he's a classically trained actor too. I mean, he came from the stage.
Okay, but do you think he's as good as he was here in his prime?
Yeah, Robert Englund hasn't lost it.
Hasn't lost it?
I don't think so. I mean, he does a lot of horror films now, but and I'd say he's been somewhat typecast.
Has he turned into his own brand now?
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's hard for people to see Robert Englund, you know, not being Freddy. I mean, he's done a shitload of horror roles, but it's just ever since Nightmare on Elm Street, man. Like, I would love to see Robert Englund in a good, like, fucking romantic drama or something, you know, because I feel like he could carry that.
Oh, really? Well, I was talking about, like, I want to see him in, like, a dark horror movie where it's not, I don't know, sometimes I feel
where he's not just, like, doing a cameo.
Yeah, a hammy cameo.
Yeah.
Like, give him, like, something. Give him.
Dude, and Janice Blythe here is so hot. Like, you would never think that was the chick from The Hills Have Eyes. Because in The Hills Have Eyes, she played the character of Ruby, which was the really dirty fucking cannibal girl. But in here, she's looking pretty fucking fresh, dude. She's looking hot.
Well, dude, Hills Have Eyes. That's the one with the really crazy scene in the RV, right? Like, I've been getting Hills Have Eyes like feelings throughout this whole movie, like with the girl chained up in.
Yeah, they were made around the same time. I think Janice Blythe did this right before she did The Hills Have Eyes. But Wes Craven and Tobe Hooper kind of have similar styles.
I mean, it's a. I'm just getting senses. It may also be the stories.
Well, they're both very rural stories.
Yeah. And like the Hills Have Eyes is like desolate. You know, you're out in the desert.
Out in the desert, and this is like in the
backwoods.
Swamp. Yeah. I mean, anytime you take a character and you isolate them, and you know, you put them in an environment where there's no cops and, you know, basically just no people, it makes for a very visceral, raw experience. Mm-hmm. And I always like how, you know, she just like stops this car and she gets away. This is a cool little moment. Apparently that was her car too in real life. But dude, and then you know, this was on a fucking soundstage. Like how cool is that? Like this.
I know. That's what.
I mean, this is movie magic.
Mm-hmm.
You have control of your lighting and just
What is going to be seen?
your composition. You know, your camera angles.
Yeah.
But you can tell that this is a set.
Mm. But it gives it that movie. Movie is supposed to have that movie magic. It has it.
Like that theatrical feel almost.
Well,
This movie definitely.
Like Hitchcock. Didn't Hitchcock have a lot of soundstage stuff?
He always shot on set.
So it's like, it gives,
Hitchcock never shot in real practical locations.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
He didn't like it.
To be able to shoot a movie nowadays, have the opportunity to shoot a movie like this.
Yeah.
On a soundstage.
Yeah. I mean, dude,
Do you think they do very many? Or is it a lot
of... They still shoot
for horror?
I don't know about horror. But, you know, they still shoot on a lot of studio lots. And, I mean...
But is it green screen nowadays, or are they still building...
A lot of it is green screen. But, see, I like how the exteriors and the interiors are all on the soundstage.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, they'll get the exterior shot on a real practical location, and then they'll build the interiors on a soundstage. Right.
It's all.
Yeah. But this is totally like...
Dude, you have full control of movement in a soundstage.
Yeah.
Whatever shot you want, you will be able to probably get.
Mm-hmm. You get all your removable walls and as many windows as you want to blast light through there, and yeah, it's awesome, man. And I think this is what Tobe Hooper was trying to do, because, you know, coming off a film like Chainsaw, the original Chainsaw Massacre, there were people getting fucking heat exhaustion, and I bet he was just like, dude, I'm going to fucking Raleigh Studios, you know, which I think was right across the lot from Paramount.
Okay.
And you know, just imagine that feeling, going to work in this building, you know, and your first film was like in a hot ass desert. It'd be a change of pace, but you know, but it's like going back to Alfred Hitchcock. He was not comfortable unless he was on a set. Like he felt at home being on a studio lot.
Yeah, it's like it's a home.
It's a controlled environment.
Yeah, environment. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're about to see some boobage.
Is this the
here.
chick you were talking about from earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she can't find her dad, and I was wondering what happened to her, but now I know she's stripping down.
Okay, yeah, her dad is the guy I didn't like.
Right.
So this is the sister.
Yeah.
Of the
prostitute. Yeah.
Man, he's had a bad day. He's really had to work today.
Yeah.
His motel has been going crazy today.
He just wasn't expecting all this action.
Yeah.
And he wasn't expecting all these whores. Seems like he's been having to take out a lot of whores. Or, you know, girls that he
deems
yeah.
If he sees you naked, if he sees you naked, flirting,
or if you're just a woman, period.
Yeah.
Because he had earlier they mentioned how like Judd used to go to the whorehouse,
right?
And they had to run him off, you know, because he was getting rough with the women. But I like how you don't really know much about his character. You know enough about him.
You know just enough.
You know what his motivations are.
Right. And that's really all you need to know, as long as you know his motivation.
Exactly.
I like her shoulder. That's a nice shoulder shot. The shoulder was lit really well.
Yeah.
Look at this gator.
Yeah, this was terrifying to me, man. There's something about kids, too, in horror films. When you put kids in peril, you know, or extremely dangerous situations, it just raises the stakes, man, and it makes it just that more terrifying.
I can say before I had kids, I did not care.
Yeah.
But now that after having kids, Yes, it increases it for me.
Well, you can relate to them
Now, yes.
It takes you back to a childhood fear.
Yeah, and I know what it feels like now if I was to lose my kid. So it's like,
yeah,
it's a new fear. So
I think kids are just more relatable too because they're vulnerable to so many
things
situations and
the whole time, like, just think, it's a good thing she's stuck under there.
yeah. Well, but now she's got the fucking croc after her though. So
okay, well,
and this is where it gets.
If you were that girl, would you rather have the croc or the dude? I would rather have the croc.
Yeah,
I would rather have the croc.
I was gonna say, man, Judd's pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah, man.
Judd's raw, dude. That croc, I could get away from that croc, but Judd, man, he's snorting that fucking BC powder, man. He's all cranked up and shit with the scythe.
I don't think that was BC powder, man.
I think it was fucking blow.
Blow. I think it was like some like deeply hallucinated, like maybe it was like a shit ton of acid.
Yeah, or just God, hell, it was probably
meth.
Yeah, or PCP.
PCP. There you go. Wait, is he back under there now?
The croc's coming out.
Oh yeah. Duh. I know that. I'm stoned.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, like Kyle Richards doing all these horror movies at such a young age. She was in The Watcher in the Woods too. You remember that? That was a Disney horror film.
Oh wait, okay. I think we've talked about this. Yes,
and it had Betty Davis in it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, and
that's actually a kind of really scary Disney movie.
It is. Oh, it scared the fuck out of me, dude. And I think it's rated G. That shit's rated G, and it's terrifying as fuck.
I mean, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Kyle Richards was in that, and it's crazy. Her parents were just like, "Oh yeah, you can be in all these horror films," but she was traumatized from this one, and I think even in the audio commentary, ours is better, by the way, but in the real audio commentary on this Blu-ray, Kyle Richards said that this movie was probably the most intense, traumatic experience that she'd had working on a film. I mean, I can see why.
Really? Okay, because I was about to think, man, if I had the skills to act as a child and the opportunity to,
yeah,
like, I would think it would be pretty awesome. But do you think maybe it was safety regulations were worse, or do you think it's just the subject, like her having to deal with the subject matter?
I think I don't know if they quite understand the subject matter, because like Kyle Richards said when she worked on Halloween, she didn't even know she was in a horror film. She said everybody was just having fun, but with this one, she said that she showed up just terrified because of all the situations they were putting her in, and
like this whole sequence here.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that she was having fun to an extent, but imagine every time the cameras are rolling, they're like, "Okay, scream! We need you to scream!" I would think after a while it would fucking get to you, but I mean, it seems like you would be fucking exhausted or winded by that point. But I could see it.
Because I would love to have had the opportunity to be on something like this, but also. That's us thinking now and back, you know. But when we were that age, would we have?
It looks like movie magic to us, but from what I heard about this production, it was very stressful. And
I bet any kind of horror movie for a kid back then, because, in the 70s, they kind of used young kids, right? At a certain point, didn't they start to use older and older later with subject matter? Or
maybe. I mean, the movies from the 70s definitely didn't shy away from...
Would you say rated R movies with kids in them, young kids?
Yeah, like Pet Cemetery, having the kid die and stuff.
Okay.
They would do movies like that back in the day that I don't think they would do nowadays. But
that was 80s, right? Or when was Pet Cemetery? 80s. Yeah.
But and good example, Kim Richards, Kyle Richards' sister, was in Assault on Precinct 13. She got fucking shot. And they showed that shit.
Yeah.
Like that would not be done nowadays. But
it's Well, it hits hard, but it's real.
But I think for this movie, like, I think what Kyle Richards was saying was basically that she had developed somewhat of a nervous twitch because, you know, when she would show up on set, it's like everybody was on pins and needles. Mm-hmm. And it was a different environment where it's like, you know, when she worked on Halloween, she said she was fucking, you know, sitting there with Michael Myers and it was just all fun and games. And I think it just completely depends on the environment you're working in. Because I imagine Tobe Hooper was stressed out as fuck and there was probably...
Clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, he did leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get into that kind of environment, I would say...
would you say it's toxic or just a negative environment?
Yeah, a negative vibe. It can kind of rub off on you. Tobe Hooper was apparently one of those soft-spoken guys that they said that he had trouble articulating things. Like when he was directing, he was really good. He knew what he wanted. But if he was just talking to you like after they were done shooting, mm-hmm. if he was just talking to you on a personal level, he had trouble communicating. He wasn't a very good people person. Whereas like, you know, John Carpenter, I'm sure, was a different style of director. But that was the end of the movie, by the way.
Okay. With that being said,
and we're gonna move on to the review part of this movie. I love it, man. You know, I don't know how you felt about it.
Don't give me your stars yet. I want to give you mine first after I hear you talk.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna say I love this film. I think the actors are, you know, that's probably one of the best parts about it. All the actors that are in it, because I'm a fan of all these people. They're all familiar faces to me. I think actors can really enhance your story because I'm sure this was, to a lot of people, mm-hmm. maybe a mediocre script. You know, I don't know. I would think that it's, with this story, it's not very tightly structured. I like how it's kind of loose. There's things that enhance characterization, like I was saying earlier. But plot-wise, there's not much to it. It's just you got a crazy dude fucking running a hotel, and he's got a pet croc who eats people that he doesn't like. and I like how you kind of have the interweaving characters. Like, you think that whore at the beginning is going to be your protagonist, and then you also think Marilyn Burns and that family are going to be your central protagonist. But Marilyn Burns is tied up to a fucking bed almost the whole time. So then you get the sister of the prostitute that comes in. You get her dad, who is for some reason dying of cancer, and that's like it's a part of his character that we really didn't need to know nothing about. But it kind of
up the stakes, wouldn't you say?
It's kind of like, it's like when you see him get killed, you're like, oh fuck, well, you know, it's like, well, he's not going to die of cancer anymore. He just got a scythe through his neck, you know, and he just got fed to a fucking croc.
Yeah, but him having cancer, man, it makes it that much sadder on him. Yeah. He's looking for his daughters,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. This movie's real character driven because most of the time they'll give you those one-dimensional characters that don't, like, let's say this movie was made now. They would have the dad just be this fucking boring dude who's like, I got to find my daughter, and that's all you're going to know about me. That's all you're going to know about me is what I'm doing in this film. But I like how, you know, you have people like Buck, Robert Englund, you know, who has an affinity for ass fucking. And it's like, you don't really need to know that. You don't need to know it. But in my opinion, Kim Hinkle is a very underrated screenwriter. He didn't go on to do much, but he did write this movie called The Unseen, directed by Danny Steinman, that I really fucking love. And I want to say that he collaborated with Stan Winston on that movie to do the script. But Kim Hinkle he writes really good characters and really bizarre situations. And then I think the fact that he and Tobe Hooper have kind of a history together, they work together really well, and they're able to sit in a room and collaborate and bounce these fucking crazy ideas off of each other. And I think that's what made this movie work. And not to mention the fucking surrealistic approach with the lighting and the set design. So, I mean, with that being said, I'm not going to give you my rating just yet because I want to hear your take on it.
Okay. Well, I loved it. The you were talking about the plot being somewhat. What'd you say? Gosh. Anyways,
Well,
was it simple?
Yeah,
Or not much to it?
It's not your typical arc plot.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't really care about it. I thought it was. I'm watching a story. You're watching a person go crazy.
You're watching events unfold.
Yeah.
And you're just watching Judd go crazier and crazier.
And, yeah, and the people, like you said, the people coming in, like it. I was engaged in it. I didn't. And each person was their own. They were all their own crazy. Like their characters really stuck out.
Yeah.
And then the lighting, the way the look,
the lighting.
All right,
definitely. I mean, movies are visual. They're supposed to be visual treats. This movie is complete fucking carnage candy.
Mm-hmm. And so I really like the story and
yeah,
I guess the writing. And as like it being a Tobe Hooper movie, like I want to give it a 5.
Yeah,
like 5 out of 5 for me. I think I might even like this more than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I need to go back and watch that.
Bold words.
Yeah, I really need to go back and watch that. But like, it has, like you said, that fairy tale feel.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love about it.
Great acting.
Yeah,
it's great acting, and I didn't find anything that was funny into this. This is a lot of scary, dark shit.
It's pretty intense. If you watch this movie by yourself in the dark, it is pretty intense. I mean, even to this day, I can watch this and still get disturbed by it. And that is, like I said, mainly through the characters. You know, even the William Finley character is creepy. The Robert Englund character is creepy.
Yeah, you would almost think with the whole setting him up that I'm Buck and I'm looking to fuck or raring to fuck. And like the way he tried to rape that chick, that he was probably going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because don't you see him first before you see the...
Yeah, I mean, I thought when the movie opened up with that scene, I just remember thinking, this movie's going to be gritty. It's going to be nasty.
And that's another thing I like about Tobe is he had that. He has that gritty, nasty, or well, with at least Texas in this, and
yeah,
and where it's like there's a dread.
And even the Funhouse too. That's why I was saying this. I don't want to say trilogy. A lot of people don't see it as a trilogy, but if I were to have a triple feature of Tobe Hooper movies, I mean, it would definitely be Texas Chainsaw, this movie, and then the Funhouse.
So are you saying those are his 3 best?
No, not necessarily, but as far as having similar tone and feel, it's just you can watch those 3 movies consecutively and they all just kind of feel the same. There's that same level of dread just running through them consistently.
I'd be interested to watch that one again with you then, because I own it. I bought it. But man, I've watched it a few times now, and
yeah,
I don't know.
It's hackneyed by today's standards.
Do you think that's do you think, knowing me, do you think that's probably what it is then?
Well, so many people have made films since then that are just like the Funhouse. And especially Rob Zombie and just like clowns and carnivals, all that shit has just been done to death. And at the time, the Funhouse was it was original. It hadn't really
happened.
Yeah, it hadn't really been.
But it's like the sloth in and it's like Goonies in a haunted house.
Oh, the monster. Yeah, it did kind of look like sloth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's just I appreciate it for what it is, but man, compared to like this one and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and
yeah,
I can't.
No, I mean the Funhouse is definitely not. It's my least favorite out of those 3.
What would be?
But they go together. They just go together. Like you can't watch Texas Chainsaw, watch this movie, and then watch Salem's Lot. Or
okay.
You can't watch.
It's like this is his independent years, and then all of a sudden he hits a big studio.
Yeah, but the Funhouse was a big studio film. That was Universal.
Okay.
I mean, that was a big budget movie. But they just, It's just the stories and the bizarre feel that they all had.
Well, I'll give you that. It did have. There was the bizarre carnies.
Yeah, and like Salem's Lot was a made-for-TV movie. There was, um, there was
Wasn't
a lot of people wearing
Stephen
hats.
King movie?
Yeah, a lot of people wearing hats on that production, and this one I would say Tobe Hooper to an extent, other than the producer Marty Rustum probably breathing down his neck. I would say he had somewhat of a sense of creative autonomy. So it's just like in the Funhouse, he got to do what he wanted to do creatively, and Poltergeist, it just feels like a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's just I don't know. I feel like
Which one was his last movie? When did he stop?
Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
He did a movie called I don't know how you pronounce it, Jinn or the Jinn, whatever. It's like a demon movie.
Year maybe.
It was like 2016 or 2017.
Did you own it?
Yeah, I have it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay, so you haven't watched it.
No, it was poorly received. I think that's why I haven't watched it yet, is because I'm afraid
You don't want to see your great.
Yeah, I think he didn't do a lot of great stuff when he got older. I mean, that's evident. I mean, a lot of people talk.
Nobody wants to see their icons or fall.
Yeah, they don't want to see them at their worst. I like watching the shit they did when they were in their prime. But yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the movie it's DJINN.
Is it Jinn?
Jinn or
is it a genie, like a genie god kind of movie?
Something.
The Jinn or like
something like that. But I haven't watched it yet, and I would say Tobe Hooper's last good movie to me was probably The Mangler.
Okay.
He did do an episode of 2 episodes of Masters of Horror that I liked, but it just
What's your top 4 for him? What would your top 4 be?
His movies?
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw, number 1. Second favorite of his would probably be Salem's Lot. Third favorite would be this film. And fourth would probably be, if I had to pick between Texas Chainsaw 2 and The Funhouse, man, I'm going to have to go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I love that film. I think that gets better with age.
Mm-hmm. I would probably go the same thing, but I think I like this one better than Salem's Lot.
Oh, bold words.
Well, just because this is, I guess, a little maybe independent raw for me. Salem's Lot is bigger. It's. Would you say it's an upgrade? I mean, it's good, it's great, but like this is. I don't know, man. There's something really raw about this.
It's okay, Chad. It's only just the best vampire movie ever made.
Oh, man. See, I don't know. Just watching this.
So you're saying this crock, not saying this movie is a crock, but this crock movie is better than Salem's Lot.
Yeah, to me.
Okay.
To me, I just like the overall, let's just say the overall film. I like this look. I like the lighting. I like the acting.
Yeah.
It gives you that raw, dirty feel.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Like a Hills Have Eyes and
I probably like it just as much as Salem's Lot, but I wouldn't say better. I mean, I don't know.
And when Salem's Lot is just it's when Stephen King and I guess Tobe Hooper came together and made a TV movie and right, it was TV movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean Tobe Hooper shot basically a 4-hour movie in less than 30 days. Pretty fucking impressive.
That is impressive.
And it's just you watch Salem's Lot and there is a style there that is not. It's not really all him. It doesn't really feel like a Tobe Hooper movie, but when you watch it, you can tell that like he was really starting to feel comfortable with his directorial style. So
you're starting to he's starting to know what he likes. He did his first film, got his second film under his belt, and learned a little bit more, and then you would say Salem's Lot is his like
That's when that to me. I feel like that's when he fully built his confidence as a director and was
like Kevin Smith doing Red State and Tusk.
yeah, yeah. It just took Kevin Smith a lot longer, but but you know, Tobe Hooper. By the time he did Salem's Lot, though, he was like, I'm the man. I'm the man because I'm the fucking dude who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. People want me, and you know, it's clear that people wanted him because he was fired or he quit several other productions before he even did like the Funhouse because he I think in '79 he did a movie called The Dark, or he was gonna do a movie called The Dark, and then he quit that one. You know, Tobe Hooper was notorious for not getting along with producers, and then I want to say that he tried to work on the movie Venom, and he got fired off that one. Or he quit. I don't know. But there was a lot of movies where people were like, hey, let's get Tobe Hooper because he's the fucking chainsaw guy. He's Chainsaw Massacre guy. But he's also Mr. fucking Humble from Austin, Texas. Like he didn't fit in with Hollywood. That's one reason why I respect Tobe Hooper is because he never sold out.
Right.
He always knew what his fans wanted. But I feel like when he worked with Spielberg, you know, Spielberg was a fan of Tobe Hooper. He always said that like Chainsaw Massacre was like the scariest horror film he'd ever seen. And I think he wanted to work with Hooper, and I don't give a shit what people say. Poltergeist is not. Spielberg did not direct Poltergeist. I mean, even Steven Spielberg admitted that he was like, I did some B unit stuff to help Tobe out. I mean, they were behind schedule. So, but Tobe Hooper, I mean, that's his movie. It just has Steven Spielberg's name on it as a writer, producer, and
see, I think I said earlier, you know, I may have liked this one better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe I did say that, right?
I think you did.
Okay. Oh, I just want to give the reasoning for that because in the rank, like if you were to rank his movies, a lot of people would put the one up there because it is one of a kind. It came out of nowhere. But like this story to me, I guess I'm more engaged into this one than I was the groundbreaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And you know me, I'm also a color person, and this also.
So would you say it's just more of a visual treat for you?
Yeah. And you know it's like.
But is this movie Eaten Alive more terrifying to you than Texas Chainsaw?
Dude, that guy's pretty crazy. Like if you think about that.
Yeah, but he's no goddamn Leatherface. He's no Leatherface.
Yeah, but man, but okay, Leatherface. They tried to create a monster or a franchise. This is just some dude is crazy.
They didn't intend to.
Well,
it just turned into that.
Well, yeah,
you know.
I guess nobody really intends to create a franchise. It just happens.
Yeah. If they hadn't killed old Judd off in this one, this could have turned into a franchise. Think about it. But dude running a hotel with a killer croc. How bad they could have kept that going.
And another thing,
if he hadn't died.
All right, like I don't know. There's something scary about this guy because this is probably a horrible comparison, but like Mick from
Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek is really scary character.
Yeah. I mean, Neville Brand is terrifying.
Yeah, this is a scary character. Like, and you know, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you had a family. Mm-hmm. This guy's kind of just this one man crazy dude.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll buy it. You may change your mind in the future, but
I also am a visual man, and I love the blues, the darks,
the only reason why I would say that like this doesn't. I don't like it better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'll go ahead and give you my rating. My popcorn kernel rating, ladies and gentlemen, for Eaten Alive is 4.5. And, you know, it's not a perfect film. I can't say that I like it better than Texas Chainsaw because just Texas Chainsaw is just so iconic. That had never been done before.
But it's a perfect film.
I think so. It's perfect. There's things in Texas Chainsaw that Tobe Hooper did that he didn't do in later films, It was just like really innovative, and it's kind of like his Citizen Kane. Like, you know how Orson Welles did a bunch of groundbreaking shit in his first film and then never did it ever again? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like his career was on a steady decline ever since Citizen Kane. It's kind of how I feel about Tobe Hooper. Like, he did Texas Chainsaw, and it was just fucking, people were just blown away, and it was just like assault on your senses, you know, with sound and visual and, you know. And then he goes to this one, and the only reason why I don't like this one as much, I like it, you know.
I mean, 4 or 5 is a good.
Yeah, it makes a good companion piece to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's not completely Tobe Hooper's film either. He didn't work on the whole thing. So in that aspect, I think it's flawed.
Okay.
But
I mean, you're giving a good, because I gave it a 5 over just pure enjoyment, but you are right when you do say that, yeah, it's not also a full Tobe Hooper, then yeah, I would have to say that the 5 is...
That's where the flaws come in, because you can, I mean, to me, you can clearly tell there's some shots that he did not direct.
Yeah. But I still just have like, I mean, man, it's really good though still.
It's a fucking great horror movie. I mean...
But no, you're right. You're going to have to sway that 5 to a 4.5 because he did not go all the way. You can't give him...
He changed his mind, folks. I knew I'd talk him into it.
No. Well, you are right. You brought up a good point because you can't give a perfect 5 if the person didn't go all the way through.
Oh, that's... Yeah, and that to me is the only reason.
That's what stops it. Yeah, you know, because I'm looking at it as just Tobe Hooper and just going through it, and then when
you obviously liked what you saw.
So, yeah,
I mean, I do too. They pieced it together, they made it work, and Tobe Hooper, you know, didn't take his name off of it, so it's still a Tobe Hooper film, but it's not as pure as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But.
So what about Poltergeist then?
Is
it a 5 or because it can't be a 5?
No, Poltergeist is probably
a 4.5 or a 4.
A 4 or 4.5. You know, I don't know. We'll do that on another episode.
Well, I just started now that we're talking about Tobe Hooper movies.
Yeah, I like basically everything he did up to maybe Texas Chainsaw 2, and then after that, you know, he kind of started just
I'd have to say,
losing it.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but I would have to say I like that way better than the Funhouse. I'm not a big fan of Funhouse. As of lately.
That's crazy, man. We might need to revisit the Funhouse, but
dude, I bought it and I was all excited because we watched it over here, and then I took it home and showed my son it, and I was just like, it wasn't. I don't know, especially when we talk about other.
It's a scary film. I mean.
But compared to all of everything else of Tobe Hooper's works.
Not compared to, say, Poltergeist, not compared to this, not compared to Texas Chainsaw.
And 2? Or no, you put it...
Texas Chainsaw 2 is more of a comedy.
But
So, you know, the Funhouse is pure horror. I mean, it has tongue-in-cheek moments. Like, at the beginning of the Funhouse, they kind of spoof Halloween and Psycho. But then after that, it's like pretty straightforward narrative with genuine jump scare moments. And
I'll give you, this might need to be another a viewing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're watching the Funhouse pretty soon. Yeah. But
how are you? I mean, I don't know what else I can say about this film.
I'd say we covered it, and I mean, all in all, 4.5 for me. Great fucking movie, just not perfect, but I mean, almost perfect.
You kind of depressed me because I want to give it a 5 so much, but there is the flaw, and I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. You can't give a perfect rating to something where the main person
obviously does
left.
Have a flaw.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have a flaw. Even Hooper knew that.
Like, had he shot everything else, can you imagine what it could have been?
Right.
You know?
And then it went through like title changes and shit like that. Like, this movie was, I think it was called Death Trap first, and then it was called Eaten Alive. It's like, just get your shit together, and make I mean, they made a great film, but to me, it's just, it doesn't feel pure. Like Texas Chainsaw. When you watch Texas Chainsaw,
I'm gonna
it's just, I mean, it's perfect. I mean, it's up there with The Exorcist, as just being one of the scariest, most disturbing films of all time.
And that's because it's the first of its kind, right?
Yeah.
The first ones are always the
ones that break the mold.
Yeah, when you touch on that horror for the first time and you've hidden,
and then everybody tries to imitate you afterwards, Yeah. And that's what overshadows some of those classics anyway, like Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the fact that they've been imitated countless times, and I think that's why you feel that way about the Funhouse. I think the Funhouse has been imitated a lot too, and carnivals and clowns, like we were saying, circus horror and shit. It's all been beat to death. But
I kind of avoid the circus horror. I mean,
I do too. I mean, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't find it as scary as I did when I was a kid.
Well, the only one I really ever watched was Ghoulies 3, or is it 2 when they're in the circus? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, see, I watched that a lot. But, like, as far as other circus horror, I don't really...
There's Clown House. Clown House was good. The Victor Salva movie.
Okay, yeah, we watched that.
Yeah.
But those were clowns coming in at a house, right? They're not in an amusement park, were they?
No, they were. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I remember like a house.
It was
the
about
boys are in the house, and then they look out and see the clowns.
Yeah, that was their house, but the clowns had come from the fair.
Okay.
And
But did the kids ever go to the fair and then?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Because that's where the clowns
that must have been a sugar night, sugar rush coma.
Yeah.
Smoked so much pot, ate so much candy, and then.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, that was that was Eaten Alive, and I think we had a pretty good discussion about this movie and Tobe Hooper's career, and just all the filmmakers that he's inspired and from telling just gritty stories like this. But yeah, that was Eaten Alive, and this is Popcorn on the Macabre. And my name is Dick.
And I'm Chad.
And we're leaving you guys. See you next time.
Yep. Signing out.